Welcome to Blue Talks.
All right, I am honored to be here at the University of Alberta speaking to you today about how you are not your business, right? There's a quote by Steve Jobs, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. What a way to mislead generations of people to feel like they're failing at life because they don't love everything that they do. Love and work is possible, but it's not all or nothing like our soundbite society would have us believe. Love shows up when we're working in our area of strength. And by strength, I don't mean what you're good at. I mean what makes you feel strong. What are those things that light you up? Where do you lose track of time when you're doing it? Where do you feel really successful? Where do you feel super energized? That's where it shows up. And of course, who wouldn't want to do that all day, every day, right? Of course you would, but you don't have to. Marcus Buckingham is a strengths researcher, worked for Gallup, now works for ADP. He's written numerous books on this subject. And some of their latest research that has come out says that you only need to be working in this area of strength for 20% of the time. That's just over 90 minutes in an 8-hour day to achieve maximum productivity and maximum satisfaction in what you're doing, right? So the whole idea of find a job you love and you never have to work a day in your life isn't really true. So what's the trick? The trick is to find love in what you're doing. Years ago, I worked as an HR manager for a construction company. Big part of this job was recruiting. I don't like recruiting. All right, especially the construction industry in 2008 in Alberta, it was a revolving door. People were coming and going and down the street to competitors for 25 cents an hour. I didn't love it. I didn't love it at all. It drained me. But the other parts of my job, planning annual meetings for our staff and workshops, leadership development, building a peer recognition program, man, those things lit me up. Sitting at that strategic planning table with the owners and the managers, I couldn't wait to get out of bed and go to work. And it made recruiting easier because I was able to borrow the energy and put that into the recruiting. And it helped that I worked with an amazing team. So find love in what you do. As business owners, do you think that they love every part of what they do? No, of course not. Right? Of course not. But many times, people will start or buy businesses because it encompasses something that they love, something that they feel confident in doing, something that they know that they can use to make an impact on the world. Now, is this always the case? It wasn't for me. When I was 22, I bought a restaurant in my hometown. Not because I had a lifelong dream of running a restaurant. I'd never even worked in a restaurant. But I wanted to move back home. I wanted to be close to family. And this restaurant gave me the opportunity to do that. Were there things I loved about it? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, there were things I loved about it. And more than that, there were lessons, so many lessons. In the 7 years that I operated this business, lots of lessons. One of them was leadership. This was the first time that I was a boss to 6 women, some of whom had known me since I was a toddler. Wow, talk about some interesting lessons and challenges. Now, my current business is focused on exit strategies, helping my clients build sellable businesses. And I wish that I could tell you that my exit from Grady's Roadhouse was successful and financially rewarding. It wasn't. But there were a lot more lessons. I learned how to have really difficult conversations with my staff, with my suppliers, with my customers, and even my family. I learned what a bankruptcy trustee does. Because even though my business was incorporated, I had signed personal guarantees that required me to declare personal bankruptcy. Now, I also wish that I could tell you that this didn't affect my self-esteem, my confidence, my self-worth. Yeah, it did. It sure did. It took me a really long time to learn that I am not my business. I am not my failures. I am not even my successes. I own every single one of those things, and none of them define me. I am not what I do, and neither are you. Shelby gave us 5 questions this morning to help us understand who we are. All right? Oftentimes, as business owners, our identity gets so wrapped up in what we do in our business. I am a business owner versus I own a business, right? That when we don't make that sale or we lose that client, that's personal reflection on us. We must be a bad person because we couldn't hang on to that client. No. It's not personal, it's business, right? You're not what you do. I want to challenge you to look at things differently. All right? Start thinking about your business as a tool, right? A tool to support the life that you want to live today, and an investment into the life that you're going to live when you're no longer in business. I want to tell you a story about a business owner named Mark. So Mark owned a pole line construction business in Ontario. And during one of my group coaching programs in early 2021, Mark needed to share something with the group. He needed to get this off his chest. And he said, all right, let me be clear. I do not live to work. I work to live. I work to live. I talk to business owners all the time. And they're like, no, but Lissa, I have to hustle. That's what you have to do. You have to hustle 24/7. You got to do that. I'm not supposed to be at my kid's hockey game tonight. I don't have time to hang out with my friends. I can take a vacation with my spouse when later. That all comes later because I got to pay my dues, right? I got to pay my dues. Okay, says who? Who says that? That is an outdated belief system that isn't serving anyone except maybe some divorce lawyers, right? If you own the business, if you are the boss, don't you have the final say? Don't you get to decide when you're there, when you're not there? Right? I'm not saying it's easy. Man, running a business is hard. It takes courage, it takes discipline, it takes perseverance. And yeah, there are days when you're going to have to hustle. But it should be the exception, not the rule. It should not be your whole life. When Mark was running his business, he took a minimum of 6 weeks off a year to do the things that he loved to do. He was not passionate about installing power poles. That wasn't his dream. He loved taking motorcycle trips, snowmobile trips, fishing, hunting, pretty much anything outside and going fast. That's what he loved to do. And other business owners would say to him, Mark, how can you afford to take so much time off? You know what he said? I can't afford not to. I can't afford not to. He said that because of this time off, he was a better business person. He was a better boss. He was probably a better husband too. You know what else he was doing? He was building a business that did not depend on him 24/7. If you are the bottleneck in your business, if every decision has to come through you, not only are you going to burn yourself out, you're going to decrease the morale of your staff, and you're going to lower the value of your business. Mark sold his business last year for the number that he wanted. He's probably somewhere warm on a motorcycle trip right now, right? There comes a time when every business owner, or every leader for that matter, needs to learn how to loosen their grip just a little bit, to take a step back and look at what you can give up a little bit of control of. And delegate that to somebody on your team. Even outsource it if you need to, right? You're going to be glad that you did. Then I hear, can't do that, Lissa. My employees don't care. I can't take time off. I can't step away. I can't give up anything. Okay, but your employees will care. I can promise you that. If you have the right people in the right seats, if you are leading them in a way that empowers them, right? If you're being very clear on what you expect of them, if you give them opportunity to show up, to take on more responsibility, if you build a business aligned on a set of core values, probably yours, you're going to attract those people that also align with those values. They're going to care. They're going to care differently than you, but they're going to care and they're going to work hard for you. They absolutely are. So you got to loosen your grip. Don't fall into the things will be better when trap. Things will be better when I make that first million. Then I can hire more people. When I hire more people, then I can take that vacation. When I sell my business, then I can do the things that I love to do. Then I can hang out with my spouse and my loved ones. Except that if you don't loosen your grip now, you're not going to be able to sell your business. It's going to be so dependent on you that nobody's going to want to buy it. Who are you when you're not working in your business 40, 60, 80 hours a week? What are you doing? Are you traveling? Are you starting another business? Are you golfing every day? Regardless of what you're doing, what's funding that? What's funding that next chapter? Right? Statistically, a small business owner's wealth is tied up in their business. So to fund the next chapter, you need to have a good return on that sale. You need to sell your business and you need to get some good money for that to fund that next chapter. So you better be building something that's worth buying, right? The difference between building a sellable business and not is, at the end of the day, sitting at home with regrets and no cash or living the life of your dreams. Which would you rather do? Right? So I don't get people that come up to me and they say, hey, I'm not worried about selling my business. We make a ton of money. Man, buyers are going to be lined up down the street to buy my business. Maybe, maybe not. 80% of a business's value does not show up on any financial statements. All right? A profitable business is not always sellable. A sellable business is always profitable. I'm going to say that again because it's important. A profitable business is not always sellable. A sellable business is always profitable. All right, that profitability, yeah, it's great. It's like the curb appeal of your house. It's going to get buyers in the door, but it's not going to make the sale. Right? Financial performance is looking backwards. It shows what your business did. Potential buyers aren't buying what you did. Yeah, it's important. They want to see that. They want to understand some history. But they're buying possibility. Might be the end of your journey with this business. It's just the beginning of theirs. Okay? They're going to look at things like growth potential. How easy is it to take this business and replicate it in another jurisdiction? Are there other products or services that they could add on to increase that revenue? Is there a bunch more market share to go after? Because if your business has 90% of the market share, what are they going to do? They only have 10%. It might be good. They may be a strategic buyer and want to take that because it bolts on nicely to their business, right? They want to see that there's potential to do bigger things with this business. The other thing that buyers look at is risk. They don't want to assume a whole bunch of risk. So let's look at your revenue. Is your revenue made up of one or two key clients? Right? Is your best customer your brother-in-law? And he could buy from your competitors, but he doesn't because of his relationship with you, and he doesn't want Thanksgiving to be weird. Right? What's going to keep him from buying from that person that buys your company if he's buying because of his relationship with you? What about your suppliers? How easy is it to replace your supplier? How about employees? Right? How about that number one employee, the one that has the keys to the castle? How easy is it to replace that guy? Here's where standard operating procedures come in. Crystal talked about that a bit ago. If you have standard operating procedures, it's pretty quick to get somebody else up to speed, right? Because it's pretty easy. But you know what else? Nobody wants to do standard operating procedures, nobody. But it increases the value of your business to just write down what you do and how you do it. That's pretty simple. The bottom line is that if your customers and your suppliers and your employees are all doing business with your company because of the relationship they have with you, you're creating an owner-dependent business. And it's really, really, really hard to sell those. The stats are not good. Business brokers are turning away 80% of businesses because they're not sellable. Even the ones that go on the market, 50% of them don't sell. All right? Growing up, my mom and dad had two businesses. They had a motorsport sales and service business, sold ATVs and snowmobiles and motorcycles. They bought that in 1973. About 1986, they added a motel to the portfolio. You can imagine dinner conversations while I was growing up. It was all of those challenges that small business owners face. Not just small business owners, right? Staffing. Bob was late for work again this morning. Accounts receivable. Joe didn't pay his bill again this month. Cash flow. Where are we going to get the money to pay this bill? Marketing. How are we going to get the word out that we have all these snowmobiles, all this extra inventory that we need to sell? Right? Those are dinner conversations. Celebrations too, for sure, but a lot of challenges. They worked hard. Mom and dad worked hard in these businesses. We didn't have long family vacations. We had great quality time for sure, but mostly because we all worked in the business together, right? And at the end of the day, when they said, you know what, we're done, it's time to sell the businesses. I know now that they were super lucky to find buyers for these businesses. And when it was all said and done, they looked at each other and they said, well, at least we don't owe anybody anything. Really? 25 plus years in business to break even? That's not okay. That's why I do what I do, because I don't want business owners to have to feel that way. I don't want business owners to be 60 years old and have to go and find a job instead of hanging out with their grandkids or traveling or doing what they want to do, right? Your business is an investment, and it's up to you to manage that investment to ensure that you get the return that you deserve after your years of blood, sweat, and tears, right? As our time comes to an end today, and you all head back to your regularly scheduled lives, I want to challenge you on 3 things, all right? Number 1, find love in what you do. Because even as business owners, we can fall out of love with what we're doing because, man, oh man, the challenges are piling up. Go and look for those things that are lighting you up. Go and look for those things that you can do that make you lose track of time. And do more of those. Make sure you're doing those at least 90 minutes out of an 8-hour day. All right? Don't delegate those things. Those are the things you hang on to. Delegate the other things. Number 2, build a sellable business. Right? What's the one thing that you can do to start building a sellable business? It's probably writing some SOPs, honestly. Right? So do that. Go and build something worth buying. So at the end of the day, you're not sitting at home with regrets. You're living the life of your dreams. And that brings us to number 3. What's that end game? What's that next chapter? Start thinking about that. Law of attraction. What do you want? What do you want? Start planning that, and then start making sure that your investment is working towards that. Thank you all for your time and attention today.